faster. Yeah, bring her back, steady.
The story of how I first got into horses is related to my daughter. She wanted a horse, and for a long time I said no because I felt that I was going to be given the task of looking after her horse for her. And yeah, eventually gave in, and we bought our first horse, Blue. We kind of, in our naivety, thought that it was a good idea to share a horse. But it kind of doesn't work because one person will always bond better with the horse. And as I had more time than my daughter, I did more groundwork with him and my bond grew stronger to the point where it was kind of unfair because realistically it was my daughter's horse. So I decided to buy my own horse, which I bought from Steve Ivans, a horseman named Buck. It was a bit of a surreal moment when we went down to buy Buck. I wanted to buy Buck. I liked Buck, and I knew that it was impossible really for Steve to let Buck go. As soon as Steve cried, that kind of set me off as well. So yeah, it was a very emotional time.
We have built up an amazing team. I think from me meeting Martin years ago, and been riding him for a number amount of years now, and the way we've built our relationship as far as for me and Martin to then build a team underneath us has been an amazing experience.
So I moved to Anmore back in 2023 after a brief conversation I'd had with Martin, but I could see where his vision was and where it was going, and the fact that Jez was riding for him at the time. I decided to take that bit of a leap. Moved over and yeah, never regretted it since. I wouldn't want to go anywhere else now.
At Anmore we have multiple sites where we keep our horses, so there's a lot of toing and froing between our different sites. We keep our youngsters in one location, our mares with foal at foot in another location, and that works really well for biosecurity. Our competition horses are at our home, and that's how we spend our day. We're kind of constantly on the move, looking after our horses or our cats and dogs.
Daily routines, our horses, we get up early, we start work at 7:30. The horses have actually already been fed by the time we get there, and they go out first thing in the morning, so they'll either go into pens or they go out in the field, so they just get a bit of time for themselves really in the morning, and then obviously we can get the yard mucked out and everything. And then as they start to come in, as we ride them, again, they're checked over again as they come in from the field, and then groomed before they're ridden, and then after they're ridden, they'll be bathed as well. And then they end up going back into the stable. Well, they can potentially go back out, or they can come back in and go into their stable after that.
With the young horses, first day in the ring is a big day for them. It's like their first day at school. As a human, and you go and you're nervous and you've got butterflies, and it's my job to hold their hand and be their teacher and show them around the ring and give them confidence and to show them it's okay.
So Jez Palmer versus Blur Caledonia Anmore, winner of the KBIS.
With long performance in mind, especially their feed regime, that's sort of looked after quite carefully. I know that the team over at Highbank, they have to be quite careful with what the youngsters are fed. You obviously want them looking well enough, but not too well. So I think that's quite a big thing. And then as they start to come up through the levels as well, it's then altering feeds in a sense if they need a bit more, if they need a little bit less. Sometimes they can obviously, they're quite highly strung horses, so it's making sure that everything's sort of kept as good as it can be.
All of our staff are so experienced and they know the horses like they're their best friends.
If we go grab Roller and Princess, Joker's just having a farrier, and then we can take Flair with them after.
Yeah, no worries, easy.
Before they go out, everything's checked over, their rugs are changed, their legs are checked, everything's checked over to make sure there's no injuries or anything like that.
We know when they look a little bit off or discoloured almost. We know that with them. We know if they've taken a funny step. We know everything about the horse, the body, them, their brains, what's normal for them, what's not normal for them. And I think that also is a part of our team of where we're so lucky to be able to notice anything with our horses.
At Anmore, I'm quite proud of the fact that we actually have a training program. It's a structured training program that starts with foals at foot.
I think from us having them from foals, we get to know them more than just at ridden level. So we always understand, that this horse has this character or this has this personality. So when it comes to their life and their education, we like to know if they're quite a strong-willed person, then we have to look at who they are and what they are to then be able to get the best out of that. Some need the hand holding more, some need you sit quietly and you show them the way and they do their job.
We continue that right the way through until they become ridden horses. And what I like about that is there's a term called backing and breaking. Like we don't necessarily have a process of bracking and breaking because it's a process that starts as a foal, and then it's just one day when somebody sits on the horse. What I truly believe is that the horses that go through our program are so much more level-headed than other horses that are left in fields and just take a different path.
The natural horsemanship was more new to me coming to Anmore. It was something I was very keen on, but I never had been involved in it. And I have to say, this is our first year where we've done the natural horsemanship from foals to 4-year-olds. The difference in them is been quite noticeably different as far as the confidence. Them as people, as for me to go in the ring and to be able to say, go on, and they can just trust my hand and be like, yep, I'll do it. And that's been a huge show for me to show that the natural horsemanship process and journey is, for me, the correct one. When Lisa's done backing them, I will then overtake the bride from 3-4-year-old and then be able to go putting the foundations in ready to compete. So, some horses, if they're big, we give them more time. We've had 4-year-olds that may not compete until they're 5, and we like to be able to give them as much time as they need. And if they're ready to go, they'll go. If they're not, there's no pressure, which is a big thing for us. For me, my strategy would always be, I like to do little and regular. So they're all in a program. They all have set days of what they do what, and I don't mind if I'm on them 10 minutes if they're 3 or 4 years old and they've gone well. And I think instead of doing twice a week for longer, I would rather do 4 times in the school and do 10 minutes. So for me and the young horses, that's I build a relationship better with them and feel like they get slowly stronger without rushing. My hardest to be good on every horse that we've even bought from Holland. We've gone over and we've bought 3, 4 and 5-year-olds, and actually a few of those there will all be resold, but they're super exciting horses. So we have a real vast bunch of horses that I feel very lucky to ride every day. I love horses for many different reasons. It was something that everyone says you get a bug, you get the horse bug, and unfortunately it is true, you do get a horse bug. The competing and the training is what I love, and that's what I try hard to stay focused on and to stay very consistent and current. I don't mind if we have a mistake, I don't mind that's normal days, that can happen in horses, but to not lose focus on what the goal is to stay, there's always another day. We take the good days, but you have to also take some of the harder days. I love being a competitor, I love winning, and that will always be my focus. I don't know if I'll ever lose the drive of that.
So our winner, Jess Palmer.
We all know results are amazing, but I'm a firm believer of it's a team effort. It might be my name on the win, but it wouldn't be here without Martin
The word love around horses is something that I kind of giggle at, because I think it's the humanisation of bond that we actually have with horses that is born firstly from trust and then a bit later on from respect. In terms of growth for Anmore, what we really need to do is consolidate ourselves. The future for us will be to find a new home, somewhere where we have enough room to keep the segregation that we need, but essentially have everyone on one side.
The goal is always to try and get on the team, whether that is the World Breeding Championships, which we're achieving at the moment, and then there's a bigger goal to try and get on the teams for Great Britain later on. So that's our focus, and that will always be our drive. Being on a team with my flag on my jacket will be huge, and that is what I'll always drive towards. That will stay as a focus. No matter what's going on in the background, that's always there in my mind. And as hard as the sport can be, it will never get taken away, even through all the ups and downs.